World Beach Games in Bali canceled. And Bali governor knows why foreigners marry Indonesians. Clever fella. Stay tuned for details. Selamat siang. Welcome to the latest news from Bali in Indonesia. Today is July 6th, 2023. I think it's July 6th. And what is the weather like up here in Kampung Bugis right now? It is 31.3 degrees Celsius, 69% humidity. Wind speed is 9.7 kilometers per hour. And, well, it is a pretty nice day. I hope it's nice wherever you are. Let me know, what's it like where you are? And if you're somewhere else where it's cold, well, you can let us know about that too. A lot of stuff today, and I've cut a lot of things out because I don't want to do a lot of editing today. It's already 1 o'clock, and, well, you might be hearing my grandson downstairs crying, probably fighting with his sister. Okay, let's get to the first story, World Beach Games. Okay, so what about the World Beach Games? Bali loses World Beach Games hosting role. Following the dramatic ousting of Bali and the rest of Indonesia from hosting the U20 World Cup 2023, Bali has taken another devastating blow to its aspirations to become an international sports event destination. It's only a month before the Beach Games were supposed to start. They were organized by the Association of National Olympic Committee, ANOC. Bali has suddenly withdrawn its commitment to host the 2023 Games and welcome more than 100 athletes from 69 countries. The official ANOC website, posted on the evening of the 4th of July, said that with great surprise and extreme disappointment, the ANOC has learned that the Indonesian Olympic Committee, KOI, has withdrawn from its commitment to host the ANOC World Beach Games and the ANOC General Assembly in August 2023. So with less than a month to go, when final preparations should be being made, the Indonesian Olympic Committee said its decision to withdraw from the Beach Games was done when the government of Indonesia, that's the national government, failed to release the promised budget needed to operate the Games. What's that about? The last-minute failure by Bali in Indonesia to fulfill its hosting obligations prompted the ANOC to say it was very disappointed by the KOI's decision that followed regular assurances from Indonesia that the Beach Games would go ahead as planned. According to a spokesperson, Bali said as recently as last week that the Games would go ahead as planned, and now this late announcement means it's impossible for the World Beach Games to take place in August 2023, given the insurmountable problems of identifying a new host country and completing many logistical requirements for the Games in such a short period of time. So the Beach Games were originally scheduled for the 5th to the 12th of August, and Pak Sandiaga Uno just last month was talking about how great it was that we were going to have the Beach Games here and what a big thing this was for Indonesia and Bali and helping to bring in more and more tourists. And it was just great, and it shows how organized and put together Indonesia is in terms of hosting these international sporting events. And now, apparently, it's not happening. The Olympic Committee, headquarters in Switzerland, has commenced seeking a new location and suitable dates for the next World Beach Games. When and where is anybody's guess at this point. The first World Beach Games were held in Doha in 2019, and they were intended to become a quadrennial event on the international sporting calendar. Indonesia entered competitive bidding process and won the right to host the Games in 2023. And, well, it's failed to fulfill its contractual commitment just a month before the Games start. Does not look good, especially considering that Indonesia wants to get a bid in to host the Olympics in 2036. With 2 cancellations of international events, it doesn't reflect well on Indonesia's ability to get things together, unfortunately. Indonesia's plan to host the U17 World Cup in Indonesia from the 10th of November until the 2nd of December are now also under scrutiny. And what about here? So it seems that this has been canceled because of the national government. What does the governor have to say? AWBG canceled in Bali. Governor Koster, ask someone there. Don't ask me. So the governor said that he's not paying attention to this. He said, don't ask me about this, right? Ask that there. Don't ask me, he said. Because, he said, this has nothing to do with us. We're ready to go. Go and talk to Jakarta. Meanwhile, separately, confirmed by the head of youth and sports for the Bali province, Distikpora, Imade Dana Tanaya, said that there's no information regarding the cancellation of the games. He said, that's the central authority. We have no information here. Communication seems to be lacking. Interviewed by the chairman of the Commission 2, DPRD, Bali Ide Gede Komang, he regretted that 2 international events have been canceled in Bali, and he said his party hopes that having sports activities held in Bali can boost the economy since it was hit by COVID-19. Currently, he said the economy is starting to crawl up and grow positively, and it will become better even more if international events can happen here. He said, if it doesn't happen, there will be losses. He said, this is not the Bali provincial government, this is the national government. He asked the sports minister to continue trying so that the event would not be canceled. A little late, I think. Too bad. Too bad for the athletes. Too bad for people here that were expecting to get some more business during the games and the meetings afterwards. That's just the way things go, I guess. And the next story, what about Governor Koster and foreigners getting married here? Koster dismantles foreign national strategies in Bali to own land, divorce marriages with local residents. So the governor of Bali, according to this article, has exposed the tactics of unscrupulous foreign nationals to own land or assets in Bali. The governor said these foreigners deliberately marry Indonesian citizens, especially local Balinese, to get around the rules that limit land rights by foreigners in Indonesia. I need to remind this, he said, and we have to take this seriously. These local residents are being used by marrying foreigners to make it easier to transfer their interest, namely ownership of assets, into their own name. This is dangerous for Bali in the future, the governor said. Get married briefly and get divorced. Marry briefly, get divorced. Marry briefly, get divorced. In the end, we will face problems in the future. This land is already owned then, he said. The governor said he's very concerned about this phenomenon because it could damage the morals and cultural heritage in Bali. The use of local Balinese residents by foreigners is increasing for the benefit of controlling assets, which has implications for the threat of increasing land ownership and function, as well as the moral degradation of society. The governor plans to gather regents and mayors throughout Bali to discuss this issue. He plans to prohibit foreigners from owning assets in this mode in Bali. He said they can do business, but with a system of cooperation or renting land from local residents. Prohibit foreign nationals from owning or controlling land in Bali, directly or indirectly, namely by taking advantage of their marital status with local Balinese grama. We have to control this, he said. This phenomenon was also mentioned by the head of the Bali Regional Police. Everybody's getting involved in this again. He said there were several foreign investors or foreign citizens who borrowed the name of local residents to build illegal villas in Bali. He said the name borrowing or nominee activity was to get around the rules that limit land rights by foreigners in Indonesia. The wrong rule of law regarding the nominee agreement is contained in Article 9, Paragraph 1. Article 21, Paragraph 1, Law number 5, about agrarian affairs. This article states that only Indonesian citizens have a complete relationship with the earth, water, and space and have ownership rights. Actually, he said, we need to know that the investors or these foreigners often borrow Indonesian names, especially Balinese names, and this is prohibited by laws and regulations where this agreement is null and void. It has no power. A number of different things here, so many different things here, and so many different wrong things. First, I don't know, the governor has not been looking at the laws that have been around. Foreigners can't own land here. Even if we do marry Indonesian citizens and we divorce them, we don't get the land. Foreigners can get land here. They can take long-term leases. Some people call it ownership because it can go for 80 years. You can get it, renew, get it, renew. Some people say that's owning land. You cannot own land legally here, so I'm not sure what the governor is talking about. Apparently, he didn't consult with his legal advisors about what the laws are. He doesn't need to make any laws to stop this. There's already laws in place to stop this, as everybody that tries to buy land here knows. And then there's the nominee agreement that came up as well. And then there's the nominee agreement that came up as well. The nominee agreement has been used for many, many, many years by foreigners to buy land here. And what they do is they get a local person, somebody that they often say is just like family to me, and they give them the money to buy land, and then they work out some agreement, they get some contract. The contracts are null and void. It is illegal to use the nominee system, as the police chief said. You can't do that, not acceptable. But foreigners do try to do that, and they continue to try to do that, even though it is illegal. And lots of people online tell them, no, you can't do that, it's illegal. But it's kind of worrisome that the governor has found another way to come on foreigners and, well, make us out to be sneaky, unscrupulous characters. It's getting kind of old. Fortunately, the election is not that far away, and things should, I hope, go back to normal after the election. And what about the very controversial fee for snorkeling and diving over in Nusa Penida in Nusa Lembongan? Wow, okay, that has been in the media a lot. Withdrawal of Retribution at Nusa Penida KKP for the preservation of marine biota. The head of the Regional Technical Implementation Unit for Bali Waters Conservation Area in Klungkung opened his voice regarding the levy in Nusa Penida and Nusa Lembongan. This policy puts a levy for foreigners at 100,000 rupiahs for snorkeling and diving, and it's applied to obtain income in order to finance the management of the waters in the area. Pak Sugiarto explained that the maintenance of the marine protected area is funded from this levy, and it includes protection, preservation, and rehabilitation of marine biota ecosystems. He said increasing the security of the KKP as a tourism destination and increasing sociocultural and economic empowerment of the people around the KKP is the reason for the levy. For visitors that do not want to pay, they could do 6 months in jail and have a fine of 50 million rupiahs. The fee rates vary depending on the type of activity in the water conservation area. For example, an entrance ticket for domestic adults is 10,000, for children is 5,000, for adult foreigners it's 100,000, and for children, foreign children, 50,000. Pak Sugiarto claims that he socialized the retribution rules. He said dozens of times they've been carried out outreach related to this, including by postal officials visiting dive operators, giving banners, brochures, and other things. In fact, he said, they've distributed brochures in the conservation area, and it's printed in Indonesian and in English so that everybody is aware of why they're having to pay this new fee. Tourists to Nusa Penida will be subject to a levy of 25,000 for adults and 15,000 for children. There was a 2-year vacuum due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and the fee started again in April 2022. Previously, tourism service business actors in Nusa Lembongan and Lembongan Village refused to collect the fees because they considered it burdensome for tourists and that it was applied without adequate socialization. And on social media, a number of foreigners complaining and saying, well, when they told me I had to pay 100,000 to get in the water, I said, forget it. I'm not getting in the water. I'll just sit on the beach. I already had to pay 25,000 to get in. Why do I have to pay another 100,000? Plus, I'm renting snorkeling equipment or diving equipment. And so people are not happy about this. And the local people in the tourism business are also worried that they are going to lose business because of an additional fee. If you've had any experience with this, please leave a comment and let us know what's happening there. And are people paying willingly, or are people deciding, no, I'm just not going to take part? As one guy said, I'm tired of being treated like an ATM. And that is a common refrain that has been going on for many, many, many years here. And so the World Beach Games are over, and so people are being charged 100,000 rupiahs to go snorkeling in Nusa Penida, Nusa Lembongan. And the Minister of Tourism and Creative Economy wants to develop marine tourism in Indonesia. Pak Sandiaga Uno said that Indonesia has abundant, untapped potential in marine tourism and sports tourism sectors. Right, sports tourism not going so well these days. And there have been changes in Besaki Temple in terms of fees. So Paksandiaga said that there's a change in the service rate in the Basaki Temple area. From now on, foreign tourists will be charged 60,000 rupees, domestic tourists 30,000 if you enter the temple area. The fee will include a sarong rental service and a local guide. Additionally, foreign tourists will be charged 30,000 for electric charged vehicles, while domestic tourists are charged 20,000 rupees. He said this is part of the effort to facilitate the tourist in visiting the temple and preserve the temple's grandness, holiness, and its taksu. He said the change in rate is in line with Bali's development program. And so more fees, more fees, more fees. And finally, when DHF cases become a specter in Buleleng, tens of thousands of Wolbachia mosquitoes are released to eradicate the disease. Cases of dengue hemorrhagic fever, called DHF here, are still a scourge here in Buleleng. And now this is the new way to combat this. And I've talked about this before, that there were plans to do this, and now they are doing it. They take mosquito larvae, they place them in 40 millimeter jars, like a jar used to collect urine, it said. And then these are larvae of the Aedes aegypti mosquito. The difference is these larvae will not spread the dengue virus, but will eradicate it. These Wolbachia mosquitoes contain a natural bacterium called Wolbachia, which can fight dengue virus, which causes dengue hemorrhagic fever. Total number of dengue cases in 2020 were 3,402. In 2021, 1,023, and 875 in 2022. This year so far, 616. So they are going up again. What is the government doing? Well, they're draining water reservoirs, they're closing water reservoirs, they're telling people to bury trash, and fumigation. But the fumigation is not working, and so they are trying the mosquitoes and deploying these all over Buleleng and in Denpasar as well. This program is supported by the World Mosquito Program, WMP, and Australian aid. It said that the program has been successfully implemented in Bantul, Yogyakarta, and WMP claims that the mosquitoes still bite humans, but they don't cause dengue, just ordinary itching. The mosquitoes will mate with mosquitoes that carry the dengue virus. When a female Wolbachia mosquito mates with a male dengue mosquito, their larva will contain Wolbachia and prevent them from spreading dengue. Conversely, if a male Wolbachia mosquito mates with a female dengue mosquito, the female dengue mosquito will continue to lay eggs, but the eggs will not hatch. Spokesperson said, "We're worried about the unpredictable weather here in dengue, which causes cases to soar. So we have to release these mosquitoes in mass to significantly reduce dengue cases." And the campaign kicked off here the other day at PP Beach, right here in Buleleng, right down the road from here. And apparently this has already been tried in Jogja, and results a decrease in cases of up to 77%, and hospitalization rates fell by 88%. For the initial stage, the program will be tested in Buleleng and Denpasar. Every week there will be 10 million mosquitoes released. Mosquitoes will be released regularly over the next 6 months. A similar program will be expanded eventually to all districts in Bali. And so, I hope that this new method can control these cases effectively. And the government has asked for public understanding. According to the government spokesperson, this prevention program will release new mosquitoes, so there's going to be a lot more mosquitoes around. But he guarantees that the mosquitoes will not spread dengue cases, but will fight it. And so, let's hope that this new program works. And that is it for today. And wedding stuff will be coming up in another 10 days. I think we start the first phase of the marriage. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned. And I'm wondering, anybody here marry an Indonesian with the purpose of getting divorced and then seizing all their assets? There's always something funny happening here. Thanks for viewing. Be kind to someone today. Stay safe, and I will see you next time.